So hey, if you don't remember the video I did on this about a year ago, it got removed because I kind of went a little bit overboard. Also, since it was one of my earlier videos, it included some of the scenes that would have gotten anyone nuked off this platform, obviously. So I'm going to redo it because, one, I have slightly different takes on the matter, and number two, the views, baby. I want them goddamn views. What's up, guys? F47 here. Welcome to Watching for the Plot. What I essentially do is troll through the catacomb, dark spot internet, find animated erotic videos, then criticize them on the internet because no one else wants to hear me talk about it in the real world. But if you do, subscribe for more. Boys. So I have my brand spanking new PC. This bitch is shiny, new, and fast as fuck. Did I say new? So I can edit much quicker. The last video I uploaded took about 16 hours to edit, mainly because the dusty, crusty laptop I was working with beforehand literally lagged with every single click of the mouse. So I imagine with this wet-ass P-word of a PC, it's going to be much smoother from here on out. Also, I want to mention too the mic quality in my last video. Again, sorry about that as well. We're moving on. We're evolving, boys. We're getting better. So Heisa Byoutou, for if you don't know, is a prequel to the show called Heisa Byoutou, which I reviewed, by the way. So check that out after watching this video, of course. Not now. So we begin at the beginning of a new nurse's first day on the job, and her name is Satsuki. Now, since this is a hentai in a medical setting, my Grey's Anatomy bias will jade my lenses with the experience when watching this series, but it's not going to ruin it. This is mainly because the sex and word combination will lead to some massive / petty drama, so that's interesting to think about. As we all know, first day on the job, right? You're going to be nervous. Any and all bad first impressions could ruin your experience for months. Like, for example, you can end up fucking your own boss the night before you arrive at the job and awkwardly bump into them in a meeting the following day. Please, some of you guys get that one. Please laugh at that, please. I don't want to seem like a degenerate who remembers plot lines from shows he watched 4 years ago. So Satsuki over here is sleeping, and the first thing she dreams of is getting ready on her first day at the job. Now, I'm gonna be honest, not a good thought to have merely hours before arriving to said establishment, but hey, you know, do what you gotta do. One could say that's a premonition given what happens to her at the end of the episode, but that's beside the point, right? So that dream causes her to run late, and lo and behold, she runs into the resident pervert, Kamiya. This man is called the resident pervert, quote unquote, because he walks around sexually harassing nurses on the regular. I just thought he was just a pervert, but I also think there's a slight chance of him being insane. It's a possibility that I didn't think about at all in my first watch through, but now looking at this again, he kind of gives off both of the vibe at the same time. I mean, he's playing both sides of the field with the insanity and just the straight perversion, right? So at this moment, Satsuki is now a damsel in distress, and none other than her knight in shining armor, Dr. Waka, comes to disown and disavow Kamiya and makes him cower in fear and leave. Seeing as to how close she was getting to assaulted, she looks at her hero, a Zoro clone, and this man says, "Ha, that was crazy, wasn't it? Oh my god." And she immediately falls in love with him. Now the incel in me is about to hop out right here and just start speaking right now. I'm not gonna judge you, but ma'am, you were literally the mere moments away from being assaulted. Do you really think you should be so accepting to another random man coming to approach you? Again, maybe that's just me. After that, we kind of find out that Satsuki wasn't the only nurse on their first day. The other nurse is Naho. Now, Naho is petty as shit, and we're gonna get to how petty she is in a moment. Immediately after, you know, the greetings, like, "Hey, how you doing? This is Nurse Satsuki and Naho." Everyone say hi. After that greeting, they work the entire day, and they got both of the girls chilling in the bathroom, right? They're just like smoking cigarettes and they're kicking it, and they're discussing where they're going to be assigned after their training. Naho just flat out says, "Fuck it, I'm going to work in external because you know who is working there." And she says, "You know what, Satsuki, you can work in internal medicine." And the way they did this, and the way Satsuki so flippantly to answer and to follow by those rules, they were basically hinting at the fact that Naho basically just told Satsuki where she's going to be assigned to, even though she was at the same level as Satsuki in first, but like a first day nurse. That doesn't sit well with me whatsoever, because again, if Satsuki didn't like enemas, because that's mainly what internal is in this context, just pure enema, just nonsense, just shit all over the place. If she doesn't like that and she had the choice to choose something else, then why did she choose to work in a place that she didn't like, even though again she had another choice to go somewhere else? One of the reasons I could say it was because she just wanted money. She was gonna chase that bag. But if you had an opportunity to choose something that you like rather than doing work on something you didn't, and you had no repercussions one way or the other, why would you choose something you didn't like? Everything's going against her to not choose that thing, but she chose it. This, amongst other things, is why I think Satsuki is one of the worst decision makers of all time. If she's playing an RPG game, one of those games that you have to make a decision for every single like action a character takes, she chooses the worst action, get a bad ending, and like everyone dies. That's the type of person Satsuki is. And I have to mention that the animation of this anime, since it was made in 2001, it is pretty good given the time frame. The transition scenes, however, are quite comical. Yeah, it's to be desired, to say the least. But hey, they were trying. That's all I can give them, right? Participation medal. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's worth something. So after that bar scene, after talking about everything there, internal, external medicine in a bar, you flash to Satsuki peeling apples in the kitchen for a snack, I assume. Either it's like for a patient or herself, because there's a lot of apples here. And then boom, Waka pops in and says, hey, what's up? Obviously, the only natural reaction to getting shocked while having a knife in your hand is to immediately cut yourself. Now, what isn't a natural reaction for a normal person, mind you, is fantasizing about the person who's tending to your wound in a sexual manner. She's a top tier Coomer, that's for sure. Daydreaming? More like day creaming, am I right? Oh, they don't pay me. I need to stop saying that joke. It's a bad joke. It's a bad joke. It's a bad joke. Naho, for some reason, was eavesdropping on that conversation and come to find out that she has been doing so for quite some time. She's been doing her research on Waka for as long as she's been there. And according to that bar scene we just had to transition to, it's been about 6 months. So she's been researching Span for about 6 months for some reason. And during her research and after that conversation, she finds out that Waka is extremely sensitive to alcohol. In fact, he's so sensitive that he becomes a different person entirely. And what this means is he essentially blacks out. And once he does that, the only part of him that is conscious is the sex drive part. So he only wants to fuck and just fuck more. That's it. So that's exactly what Naho is trying to get set up here. She takes him to a bar, gets him drunk without him being aware, and then gets her cheeks clapped, and then wakes up the next day be like, hey, what's up, Satsuki? I just got fucked by your crush. Ha ha ha, fuck you, ha ha. And then after bragging to Satsuki just being a complete utter fucking sore winner, she walks up to Walker and says, hey Walker, remember last night? Ha ha ha, what's up? Oh my god. And then my man over here, Mosshead, is like, ma'am, do you mind? I'm trying to work here. Stop hopping on my dick, please. This is a professional setting. Brushing off Naho after she just fucking shit all over Satsuki is a beautiful contrast, because Satsuki's over here depressed as shit, not seeing any of the rejection going on. She's just thinking about like just life being meaningless because her crush just fucked her rival or best friend or new best friend, who she assumed was a best friend, but really wasn't best friend, was only using Satsuki as a platform to get closer to Waka. Crazy, I know, crazy. So after that, all she's thinking about the entire day, she's thinking about how Naho just screwed the living mess out of Waka, and she's so out of it that she messes up on a patient's medication. Now, the patient she messed up on was the psycho from earlier. Now, this medication she gave him on accident was this sort of like permanent erection. It's kind of like Viagra, except in like a liquid form. It was in his IV, and now he's like permanently erect. I know there's some scientific term for this scenario, but I cannot fully describe what it is, so let's just call it perma-hard, okay? And so now that already sex-craved lunatic is perma-hard. He's completely lost it at this point. He lost it to the point where he had to have a straitjacket put on him because he was just craving, he was itching, he was fiending to have his dick sucked because his dick would not go down. It was just constantly hard. Got him looking like Hannibal Lecter out here. So after getting scolded by her bosses, she decides to apologize to Kamiya herself. And now that Kamiya has the upper hand, he decides to double down on her guilt and make her do something she wouldn't have done if, you know, she weren't riddled with guilt. And that thing was to agree to have sex with him to ail his erection. So she does it, obviously, given the context of the show. And that's the end of episode 1. So again, I do understand why she did this, but there has to be some lines to not cross, right? Again, I have to remind you guys, this was the same dude who threatened her at the very beginning of this episode. And now he gets to fuck her, and at the end, because she fucked up his medication? Wild! Episode 2 starts off with, I have to say, my favorite hentai scene of all time. Satsuki's just going in there, just riding this man like a cowboy. And, of course, Dr. Waka, obviously curious, hears some noises in the middle of the night. He's like, wonder what's going on here. Opens it, sees the SECKS, and is shocked. Now, mind you, he doesn't know he fucked Naho, so he thinks he's in the clear. And Satsuki looks, breaks Kamiya's dick in the process, and chases after Waka. So I guess she did end up getting payback for Kamiya, right? She snapped his dick. Go off, queen. Obviously, given the fact that she was completely just floored by seeing her crush see her fuck another dude, she faints immediately. Dr. Waka, being the wonderful gentleman he is for like the next 2 seconds, picks her up and walks her to another isolated place of the hospital. I don't know where they end up. They end up like some like locker room or something. I don't know exactly where this is at, but they end up in a place that isn't the room where Hannibal Lecter was at to fuck her. And along the way, while he was walking maniacally and slowly, he's just antagonizing her, being like, hey, listen, you whore, why were you fucking a patient? Isn't that the same patient you screwed up on, you useless slut, fucking thought? Now, I'm not sure if that's the most appropriate way of handling that situation, but our man here is massively salty because he likes Satsuki. So I guess I can see why he wouldn't mask off there, but I mean, he didn't have to go that hard. I'll just put it that way. Satsuki just fights back. She's a debate bro, or debate sis, I guess, and says, weren't you fucking Naho like Lily yesterday? What are you getting off in this attitude for? Get off my dick, please. He was taken aback, obviously, because he's like, I didn't fuck who? What? I'm a virgin. Hello? And then we flash from that to them passively, aggressively being so mad at each other. And while being completely heated, Satsuki walks out mid-convo. And during this walkout, she sees a boy yelling at his mother. That's odd. Why would a boy who's a patient yelling at his mother randomly in the middle of the hallway? Satsuki's obviously curious as well. She goes up to him, just completely just dog piles the shit out of the boy, roasts the fuck out of him, and just walks away. Like, she went off on this man, basically ending this man's career as a patient. Speaking of career as a patient, Naho has stomach problems. Yay! I assume she got pregnant, right? Because she did fuck Waka, but again, assumptions make an ass out of you and me, so I can't make that assumption, but it's only an assumption to make because why else would her stomach hurt? Will that only be to include Takabayashi back into the plot line because he's an enema doctor? Oh wait, that's literally the only reason why? Oh, okay, all right, whatever. And Naho's out there just struggling. Takabayashi says, I can help you. Swoops her up and it gives her an enema. She has an orgasm while having an enema. And Takabayashi has a fang. He has fangs now. Why does he have a fang? Isn't he a doctor? What does he do? What? Why? What is going on? I don't know. What? This is so confusing. After that wonderful scene, we see Satsuki walking up to the boy she roasted, named Kenichi. His name's Kenichi, by the way. I'm gonna find out the reason why he was so pissed at his mom was because he got diagnosed with cancer, but he didn't believe it. So under the assumption that he did have cancer, Satsuki wanted to make him feel better and apologize for roasting him. And the only way she can apologize is by offering her body. You know, there's two steps to apologizing. One, saying sorry. Two, offering to have sex with the person you're sorry for. Only two ways. And mere moments after fucking yet another patient, Kenichi tells her in a letter that, oh yeah, they gave me the wrong diagnosis, so I'm leaving. Also, I'm suing your place for giving me cancer. Like, that's a diagnosis even though I didn't have it. But thanks for the sex, ma'am. I really appreciate it, bro. Lit gang fam. Now at this point, what is left for her in life, right? There are questions that she starts to wonder on top of the roof. Like, why did the love of her life just walk out of it? And why did he walk in on her fucking psycho? Why was her best friend trying to fuck said love of her life and did fuck him? And why did she fuck the boy who is going to sue the hospital? All these questions she has on top of her head, just thinking at the top of her roof, probably contemplating suicide, given the fact how she's like just out of it completely. A doctor pulls up, her name's Midori, and says, hey, Satsuki, let's chat. So they go in the room. And then Midori's like basically like, yeah, you know, I heard your life sucked, man. Want to talk about it? Satsuki's like, yeah, it sucks. I mean, I made so many mistakes on the job. I don't know. I feel like, and out of nowhere, just Midori comes in and just starts sucking her face off. And then Satsuki's like, whoa, what the fuck, dude? Whoa. And then they fall off the chair. And then one thing leads to another, bang, bang, boom. And they ended up fucking. And after that session, come to find out that Midori knew Dr. Waka back in college. And she drops a hot Hiroshima bomb in this entire plot. Essentially, his whole blackout phase, it's been a thing since like he was a teenager. And what he would do when he blacked out, when he had any tinge of alcohol, he would just try to rape anyone around him. Because again, the only thing blackout Walker would know how to do is to just fuck. That's it. That's his only prerogative. And given the fact that she knows about it, that must mean that, yep, she was almost raped by Dr. Walker when he had alcohol ingested into his system. I don't know how she feels about him to this day. It's probably amicable, probably neutral. I don't know. But she did tell that story to Satsuki. Oh, and she also slid in the fact that Walker still loves her. By her, I mean Satsuki. So after giving a shocked Pikachu's face and giving a handshake to Midori for the wonderful sex session they had with a lot of oil, a lot of dildos, a lot of this munching and eating, all the clams and deliciousness. Do I need to go on with explaining lesbianism any further than I have with other euphemisms? Please don't let me do this. Satsuki decides to want to confront Walker. Says, you know what? Fine, I know you saw me fucking on the page, but you know what? I love you, okay? I want to commit to you, all right? I want you, you want me. I know this is true. Let's make a family. That was her end goal.
若先生に用なの？はい、そうですけど。若先生なら竹林先生のところよ。そうですか。竹林先生。そういえば、太田奈穂も一緒だったわね。あの子も何考えてんだか。館長先生と結婚するなんて。 Nao?
So there's a threesome going on, and that's where the series ends. And I don't know if you've watched my Heisa Byoutou review, but if you haven't, all these characters except Satsuki are never mentioned again. What did Waka, Takabayashi, Maho do? We'll never know. After watching it through a second time, I will concede and say, you know what? I am glad it ended here, because what else could they revel on? I mean, yeah, they could show the final sex scene, but at that point, I don't really care anymore. You know what I mean? Like, Satsuki more or less will have to move on, and according to the next series, she does exactly that. Now, seeing as I have grown in age and I'm no longer bitter towards the cliffhangers like I used to, this show is completely different for me. Because the entire ride, the entire plot was very engaging, and I loved all the drama throughout it. So, therefore, the empty ending is okay because I'm already empty inside. So that was a re-review of Heisa Byoutou. No other snarky quips to say at the end. I am done. Alright guys, I don't have an outro, but if I did, it wouldn't matter because no one makes it this far into the video. Good night. If we do make it to 300 subscribers, by the way, I will do a daily upload schedule for a week. Okay, I'll do it. I'll fucking do it, dude. See you guys whenever, I guess.